not no Mexican or foreign monster. I'm your own monster. Born and raised in Chicago.
I'm Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
And I'm Charlie Webster. Join us as we bring you the epic next season of Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord.
There was no book on how to escape a cartel alive. I didn't think that we were ever going to escape out of this kind of unharmed.
Season 2 picks up the story of Pete and Jay Flores, the twins from Chicago who became America's biggest drug traffickers before escaping to Mexico and becoming right-hand men to the world's most powerful drug kingpin, El Chapo. But they found themselves faced with a choice: become El Chapo or cooperate against him.
I remember when the plane landed, me looking out the window, and I just saw nothing but police lights and lots of them. I think it was the first time I ever felt like, why are we doing this?
Find out what really happened when they took their first steps on US soil after turning themselves in to the US government. It was just the beginning of a 14-year journey to turn their lives around.
They're like, okay, guys, it's gonna be all or nothing. It's time for you guys to finish doing your job. We need you to cooperate against all your customer base in the United States. I was like, hell no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I felt like we just cooperated for nothing, like we have nothing.
The government means it when they say it. If you're going to cooperate, it's all or it's nothing.
Hear what it was like to go head-to-head against El Chapo in court.
It was so ugly to be in that courtroom. I'm anxious and I'm worried and I'm sick to my stomach. He sits down and no matter what, every time I look, he's staring at me. He was staring at me the whole time. He wouldn't stop staring at me.
And we'll bring you right up to the present day and reveal the shocking reason the twins' wives now face prison.
Vivian and I are looking up to 10 years in prison.
Do I think that the world will be a safer place because my wife is in prison? Do I have to answer that?
Join 50 and I to hear the next chapter of the Flores family story.
Surviving El Chapo.
Listen to Season 2
on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Surviving El Chapo Season 2, Episode 1. We are back. Salute to everybody on this beautiful, a Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. Salute for being here. We've come full circle. This is the podcast that started it all over here. It was the Surviving El Chapo podcast that I started my YouTube channel with, basically, or used as a catalyst to move my YouTube channel forward. So, it's a big deal that we're here. It's about a year later, and we are back with Season 2. Season 2 is going to cover the courtroom, I believe. Hopefully, it'll cover some of their prison time. They'll talk about their fears, their concerns, what they went through. Hopefully they get through the whole 14 years of what was happening with the twins. Welcome back, everybody. For a long time, this was the only type of content that made anything shake around here in this on this channel, and we're back to it, man. I'm excited. First episode's called All or Nothing. A little bit of housekeeping before we get it popping. We have $2 text to speech, so you can leave a comment on my screen for $2, and for $5 you can do media. You can leave a link to a video for me to react to, plus leave a message on my screen, text to speech. I will give you a quick example of what that looks like. In the case of the donation, here we go.
Big Baller sent $1,000. I am the man.
That's what it'll look like. All right. I appreciate y'all for being here. I plan on being live for a while today. I'm going to do this live. Then I'm going to do another episode. I'm going to do episode 9 of Uncivilized after this. But yeah. Welcome back. Surviving El Chapo. Get in the chat. Say what you got to say. Tell me what you think. because I'm gonna be vocal myself. I have my opinions. So let's see how it all went down. Here we go. Episode 1, All or Nothing, Surviving El Chapo. Thank y'all for being here.
Hey, it's 50 Cent.
And I'm Charlie Webster, host of Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord. Make sure you listen to the catch-up so you're up to date with what happened in season 1.
We did
If
that.
you haven't listened to season 1, where have you been? Go back and listen.
The story is chronological and follows on from season 2. I can't wait to take you on the second part of this ride. We're going to jump straight in where we left off.
And when I saw the cars and like all the agents and marshals just like staring at us, I think it was the first time I ever felt like, holy shit. I'm not just another drug dealer, right? My whole time, and even though like you might hear me say now, like, oh, I was the biggest drug dealer, I had no idea that I was. To me, I was just
faking it till you
drugs.
making it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you moved like that. You moved like you was the greatest drug dealer ever. You let everybody see the bread. But now it's dawning on you when you see all them blue lights, shackles and shit.
When you look at it from on the outskirts, because just in perspective, you can't even fathom what that's like.
I was just doing what I did.
That's it.
Why are they here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just us, like, but it was like a reality.
That is a big...
It was hard.
How much money did they spend with all those cops sitting outside that airport? Everybody on duty, everybody on the job, people getting hurt all over the place. People, and not cops. I'm talking about, you know, big boy agencies, FBI, you know what I'm saying, ATF, all of that. But why the show of force for a couple of twins getting off an airplane, a couple of little dudes? Like, it's overkill, man. That's like when they got the big ass table for the little ass rock that they found, that they put on the table.
Like, take all that in. And not having a chance to deal with your emotions was really difficult.
Got our music back.
This is Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord. Season 2.
Salutes to Edgar in the chat. Salutes. I hear you.
Hey, it's 50 and Charlie with you again. Welcome back to Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down the drug lord, season 2. After a 20-year-long career in the drug trade, the Flores twins, Peter and Jay, decided it was time to turn their lives around. But it wasn't going to come easy. This is real. They were deep into the cartel. El Chapo was like family to them. They were caught between the cartel on one side and their actual family on the other. Getting out of the life meant a huge betrayal to everything they'd ever known. And turning against the man who was the only reason they were both still alive in the first place. It was Chapo that stopped Pete's execution and who kept the entire family safe.
It took 8 months of secret recordings, working with the US government to bring Chapo down
It's a long
by
time.
recording him on a wiretap.
8 months.
Pete-
They made a baby. Big old cartel baby.
Pete and Jay turned over the recording to the government and handed themselves in, ready to take the next step in turning their lives around.
So they turned over the tape.
US government to bring Chapo down by recording him on a wiretap. Pete and Jay turned over the recording to the government and handed themselves in, ready to take the next step in turning their lives around.
We left you in season 1 with Pete and Jay shackled and landing in the US to a load of police and federal agents.
Facts.
While the brothers were on their way out of Mexico on a US government private jet, their wives and the rest of the family had to make their own way out of the country. Viv, Val, Pete and Jay's brother Armando, the twins' mother and father, and all the children were left to drive 8 hours through enemy territory across the US border and into relative safety.
With no plan.
Just a reminder that we're not going to identify which brother is speaking each time, but I'm sure by now you've got to know them. Jay is a little lighter and happy-go-lucky. Pete tends to be serious and more of a realist. Jay is married to Val, and at this point they have 2 boys, one just a newborn baby. Pete is married to Viv. They also have a newborn baby, a girl.
It was a big deal when we
Wait,
came
they
back.
have a
Like, they
newborn
had-
baby now?
Pete knew them. Jay is a little lighter and enemy
Hold on, I need
territory
to know.
across the US
We're
border
going back. We're
and
taking
into
our time
relative
today, y'all.
safety. Just a reminder that we're not going to identify which brother is speaking each time, but I'm sure by now you've got to know them. Jay is a little lighter and happy-go-lucky. Pete tends to be serious and more of a realist.
Of course he's more serious and a realist. He's the one that suffered the trauma, the physical trauma of being snatched up and you know, locked down and basically starved. So yeah, I'd be a little bit you know, more restrained and quiet than the lighter, happier one. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Jay is married to Val, and at this point they have 2 boys, one just a newborn baby. Pete is married to...
So at this point, they got a newborn baby, okay, and a child. She's probably Kay's kid.
Viv. They also have a newborn baby, a girl.
It was a big deal when we came back. Like, they had all kinds of marshals and SWAT teams. And just bombarding us with questions. There's a couple people talking and a lot of faces. And I seen this man, he's kind of tall. He has a briefcase. And I automatically know, like, oh, that's the U.S. attorney. We went into they have a business lobby, so they have a big conference room, and we went in there, and a few of the agents, including the agent, the DA, Agent Marshall, I think he was, from our original case, is there. And we get on a call with our attorney.
Salutes, Edgar. Appreciate it, bro.
And the U.S. Attorney's Office from Chicago. And basically they're like, okay, guys, you know, your family's across the border, so now you guys are here, and you guys been cooperating, you know, from Mexico, but now it's time for you guys to finish doing your job.
Join the team, America.
And we're like, huh? You're gonna have to finish doing your job, and that means that we need you to cooperate against all your customer base in the United States.
Everybody can get it.
I was like, oh, absolutely not. Hell no. We're not doing that.
What made you think it was just over with? You know what I'm saying? What made you think that they weren't gonna strong arm you for, you know, all kind of other information and people? I would assume that you would assume I can't just tape CHAPO, give them the tape, and boom, we good. Witness protection us, let us do our time. We ain't got to tell you nothing else. That's never going to be the case. Not with the United States government, not with anybody. Human beings are always going to squeeze for whatever they can squeeze for.
We're not doing that.
Yes,
Everyone
you are.
looked like, what? And I remember my attorney was like, hold on, I need to speak to my clients. I need to speak to my clients in private. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. Like, because I felt like we just cooperated for nothing. Like, we have nothing. Like, where's our end? Just risk my life. I'm here.
You're
by
alive,
the
Papa.
grace of
You
God.
risked
Like,
your
but
life.
now-
You say you risked your life, but you're alive on that deal. You got out of there. That was your whole thing, right? The whole thing was it was a gun in the mouth moment. The gun in the mouth moment was the cartels were going at it and they were going to eat you. You out. You out. You're alive, right? They want what they want. They want it back in blood.
Now where's, like, nah, that's bullshit. Like, because I felt like we just cooperated for nothing. Like, we have nothing. Like, where's our end? Just risk my life. I'm here by the grace of God. Like, but now where's, like, you're asking me corporate, but where's, like, what's my benefit? Like, what am I getting? You're asking me to now
gave it to you.
Turn on my customer.
We just gave it to you. We flew you on an airplane out of Mexico onto U.S. soil. You back in Chicago now. That's what you had coming. Now it's on you to give me what we had coming. That's what they on. Take your time with me, y'all. Hit the like button in the least. Send it to a friend. Tell them we back on and popping. Leave a comment. Appreciate y'all.
Where's our end?
Where's your end, bro?
Just risk my life. I'm here by the grace of God. Like, but now where's, like, you're asking me corporate, but where's, like, what's my benefit? Like, what am I getting? You're asking me to now turn on my customers?
You're alive.
As far as the twins were concerned, the deal was to get El Chapo on tape, serve a few years in prison, and be free to start a completely new life.
They did believe it was that simple. In their eyes, it was that simple. We're going to get the old man on tape. We're going to get him out of there. We're going to go do our time. Done deal. Shit. Can it be that it was...
All their conversations with the government so far have been purely focused on El Chapo. But the government had other ideas.
Hell yeah, they did.
Jay and Pete would now have to turn...
The government had a whole lot of ideas, boy. We want everything. Give us everything. Everything you've ever known, everything you've ever seen. We need all of it.
...in everybody they've ever dealt with. Workers, customers,
everything.
And even their friends.
Fry
if they
cook.
were ever going to have any chance at freedom.
Fry cook, register, burgers, everything down the McDonald's, down the production line. They got to write on all of them.
The prosecutor gets on the phone, and the other prosecutor's just looking at us, and he basically says, guys, this is how it's going to work. It's going to be all or nothing. You get to decide.
All or nothing.
How did that make you feel?
I felt like...
Prisoner.
That hurt.
Hurt? Shit.
I felt trapped, like...
Yeah. You guys had to know that the United States government was there to rescue you from their demon so that they can catch their demon, but they were there to torture you after that.
I felt stupid. For sure. At that moment, that's how I felt. Like, what? Like, I was angry. It just... I mean, I just said, it was that moment. It was those, like, those initial moments where I felt like I was angry at the user. Turned off, I felt like it was a trap to me.
It was a trap.
I felt like I hadn't got nothing in return, and...
You don't get what you're worth. You get what you negotiate. You had 8 months. Or whenever you first decided, whenever you saw the what's his face, Sammy the Bull story, and then you went and you spoke to these feds, that was negotiation season. At least try. Because now there's no negotiation. Now here we are. The truth of the matter is, here we are 14, 15 years later, and they're still holding people up for 18 months in that family. So, it's never over for the feds, man. Never over. It's like the statute for murder. It's never over, man.
Them, they're like, oh, you're a drug dealer. What you expect? You're getting the chance. And to me, I'm like, I'm risking my life every day for giving you what you asked me for.
And you got it. Good job.
You didn't ask for that. You said that you wanted this. We offered, we put everything on the table, and that's what you wanted. I mean, but that's not just the way it works.
Absolutely.
So basically, he said, listen, it's all or nothing. If you guys decided you change your mind and you want to, like, spend the...
If you decided you changed your mind, don't worry. We'll just throw you over the fence right back to Mexico. That's what the U.S. government's on. They don't give a shit. They're not worried about it. They'll be like, man, we'll stop your family. We know your family trying to get through right now. We'll stop them right now. So they're basically reneging on the deal. They're reneging on the deal, if that's the deal that was made, and basically holding you hostage for some more shit. The devil in many different forms.
Rest of your life in prison. For all your customers are going to end up at works.
Yeah. Your rich
So basically he said, listen, it's all or nothing. If you guys decided you change your mind and you want to like spend the rest of your life in prison, for all your customers are gonna end up cooperating against you anyway, like they are now.
They're like, we got buddy in the back. We got dude in the back. Dude in the back is eating the burger right now. You know what I'm saying? He eating the burger right now. Got a whole Baconator. And you sitting over here trying to protect him. You're the prize. Everybody's gunning for you. Just sold them the canned goods and slaved them.
And when he said that, I was like, kind of had a point there, you know, like.
You got me.
I do remember asking my attorney, like, could we do anything about this?
About what?
And he's like, you don't get to pick and choose, Jay. It doesn't work that way. Now you go do the right thing. Remember what got you here. Don't put no one in front of your family. And he was right. I didn't want to be the responsible person for that, like, I guess. You know, like, I didn't want to be responsible for everyone's life changing. I just want to be responsible for my life changing, right? Like, and I think that it was a lot, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, it's a lot. Cause think about it, y'all. Just as much pull or work as they had, right? As big as their organization was, as big as their store was, it's a lot of. See, they weren't a bodega. They were Walmart. They were Costco, Sam's Club. They were the distributors that distributed to Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club. You know what I'm saying? So think about the amount of lives that changed after that. Think about how broad the stroke of them having to start talking on people and the branches that come off one person onto the next family, onto the next family. That shit affected a lot of people. A lot of people.
That night, they wanted to do what you call controlled deliveries. So you'd call a customer and someone was gonna go give them drugs and they'd arrest them. But it was too much to do in them few hours, like to be sitting there. And it was.
I would imagine they want to do it quick action for anybody goes and runs their mouth and says these boys done left the country, unless they're late already and everybody knows they're gone.
Late, so finally we made a couple calls and that was her fault. For them to be sitting in front of you like, here, make the call.
Right now.
Call this person. And they're sitting in front of you and we had to lie. And we had to call customers that we had for many years and be like, and basically set them up.
So they could be arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many of them smelled the rat and was like, nah, I don't need that work. I'm straight. I wonder if any chose that. Or is greed so strong that intuition means nothing at the end of the day? Who knows?
How did that feel?
It's like, it's going to be one of those defining moments, I think, in my life where there was really high highs and really low lows. And we made a few of those calls, and it was getting late in the night, and they decided that we were going to end there.
So they got them straight to work. They got them straight to work off the airplane.
I just can't believe just what we did.
Believe it.
The first stop was Kenosha County Jail in Wisconsin, and a change in identity for protection. They could no longer use or be referred to by their real names.
They took us to a county jail, to Kenosha County Jail.
In Wisconsin.
And that's when reality was gonna start setting in a little bit.
Damn, boy, reality done set in a whole lot in this story. If you go back, that's a very poignant, exploited point. Reality struck.
Took us, and they changed their name.
Quick action.
They changed their name. And they gave us the last name, Ramirez. My name was gonna be Marco Ramirez, and Peter was Juan Ramirez. And in Kenosha, there's a federal holdover. And it's just a county jail. They made us change, and the dirtiest. They give you orange socks with holes in them and slippers, shower shoes.
Bro, you could have took your ass to Cook County
And
jail.
they put us in this one unit. It's locked down 23 hours a day. And I remember walking, seeing the phone, like, am I gonna be able to use phone? Yeah, when it's your turn. So basically they let one person out an hour a day, just in that little unit. So they go down the line. So I remember just observing, like, I'm asking questions. People were like, where you from? Asking those questions. I'm gonna guess that some of them are cooperators as well, because they're there, and it looks like they've been there for a long time too, because they're settled in this ugly place. The doors, steel wire crisscross kind of so they're see-through, so it's not like you get privacy. They can see right through your, and it's just old. Everything's old and
yes, it's not like it's a door that's shut. No. It's all wire.
It's like it has almost like a gate on it, like steel heavy gate. Crisscross like this.
Yeah.
Okay, crisscross gate. We get
and
it.
It's separated, so they put my brother on one. It's one bed, one bunk. And they put my brother on one. They put me on the other. I remember me and my brother's like Jay, like, don't go to sleep. So we the door's like here, and I basically just sat down on the door, and he sat down on the door.
So you leant against the door?
Yeah, we're leaning against the door, and we're just talking. We don't have to talk so loud because it's open.
You're right next to each other.
And I remember I was like, what do we do? And just like, wondering about our family. That's gonna be the beginning of the stress of wondering, are they okay? Are the kids okay? I wonder what they're doing. I think anybody in prison always
can't
thinks
call
about
them,
those
can't
things.
see
At this
them,
very moment, And we didn't sleep. They bring breakfast like at 5:30 in the morning. It was terrible. It was like grits and who knows what. We didn't eat. I don't think me and my brother didn't eat probably for the next 5 days. And we would drink like water or something or juice, and I probably lost, those first 2 weeks, probably lost 30 pounds.
After a brief stay in Kenosha, Pete and Jay, now under a different alias, were moved to the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago, 62 miles away.
The team came for us, and they took us to Chicago.
Vet time.
It was a caravan, like a big caravan of marshals. That's gonna be the normal from that point on.
Wonder how many hours it is later, and who knows?
Together, or just you?
It's me and my brother.
Yeah, together.
We're like a special hold where we have a 3-man hold. So it's like 1 lieutenant and 2 officers every time we get moved. So that means that there's me and my brother. So at first it was hard because they needed 2 lieutenants, 4 officers, and you're talking about a place that doesn't have that many guards. So it didn't take long before we were gonna start being a pain in their asses. They take us to U.S. Attorney's office, put us in a conference room, and that's where actually for the first time ever I meet Tom and Shake Shack. I meet Michael Farrar, who are gonna be the lead U.S. attorneys in the case. I meet the agents that we've been speaking to. That's Eric Durante, who was the agent in charge of the case. We meet Sam Gianelli.
The twins were now face to face with the government team behind the El Chapo case. the people who would ultimately decide the twins' future. Sam Gianelli was the first agent Pete and Jay ever spoke to. If you remember, it was back in that 16-person shower that they had in Mexico. Gianelli worked alongside Eric Durante, the DEA special agent assigned to the case, who had also been working on it from the beginning. With them were the assistant US attorneys Michael Ferrara and Thomas Shakeshaft. Shakeshaft was the lead prosecutor. He first met Pete in that secret hotel room meeting back in Mexico that started everything.
Then my attorneys there. They need us probably talk for 20 minutes. And then they're like, we need you to continue on with this cooperation.
Bruh, they want to give you a job, bro. They hired you. They want you to be like Big P from The Sopranos and shit. Where you got some kind of Stockholm syndrome where you think that you are a Fed now and shit. Y'all didn't have that evidently at this point because y'all didn't want to do it as far as those cold calls that you did to your customers. Y'all didn't want to do that to begin with, according to you. You know what I'm saying? But these fools want to hire you for the job, bro. They want to throw you back in the street and let you run shit.
We started working on going into a grand jury to indict CHAPO that day. And me and my brother got it. That's what they want from us. Like, that was our bargaining to us, and that's the first thing that they want.
Wait, what did they say?
To indict CHAPO that day. And talked for 20 minutes, and then they're like, we need you to continue on with this cooperation. We started working on going into a grand jury to indict CHAPO that day.
Damn.
And me and my brother got it. That's what they want from us. Like, that was our bargaining to us, and that's the first thing that they want. And they basically, when they took our phones from us, what happened was that people were calling our phones.
Shit.
And the agents are there sending back messages.
Pretending to be you.
Yeah, like basically like, oh, listen, so-and-so been calling. He said he needs 25 keys?
Cooperating isn't...
How do you know that's gonna work? You're an officer, you saying all the wrong shit. All the I appreciate that, whatever your face is. You can fuck off now. I dislike you too. Bitch. Yeah, man, like these cops sending texts. You can see a cop, like when you see them all undercover, you know what I'm saying, with their monarchs on and their hats and their sweatshirts. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. They're sending a text. I'm sure a couple of those guys smell something funny.
What you might expect. It doesn't stop happening just because you go to prison. At this point, the twins had no idea that this would carry on for years until the US government could put El Chapo behind bars. For the first 8 months, it was all day, every single day, calling and setting up their customers and friends.
I do feel responsible for, like, making decisions.
Hold on. Was it took them 8 months of surveillance and all of this to get CHAPO on tape, and then they got out. You telling me it's another 8 months and these dudes are still making deals in the name of the United States government on the street?
For a lot of people, like, not just my...
Hold the phone.
For the first 8 months, it was all day, every single day, calling and setting up their customers and friends.
I do feel responsible for, like, making decisions for a lot of people, like, not just my family. I made decisions for a lot of people that went to jail.
How many people went to jail because of what you did?
A lot.
Like how many, roughly?
I want to say in total, over 100 people for sure.
Dang.
When they were finished for the day...
That's what I was talking about, 100 people. How many arms is that? How many branches of that 100 people don't stretch off to another 100 people per branch? It affected a lot of lives, man. Damn. 8 months of just cold calling. And guess what? The streets is dry because they're in the position they're in. Nobody really knows it, and they need work. So if these dudes hit them up and say, hey, bro, I got all the work you need. Meet me at the police station. They're going to meet them at the police station because they need that work. So that was easy for them. Shit.
They would head back in the big convoy to MCC Chicago. MCC Chicago is not what you might think a normal prison looks like. It's a skyscraper in the middle of the city. It's one big triangle, designed that way to be easier to keep an eye on everyone. The roof of the giant triangle is used as the recreation yard. While you're shooting hoops, you can kind of look out on the amazing views of downtown Chicago. It's used as a holding prison for those that have not yet been sentenced. Because of the danger of what the twins were doing, they couldn't simply be held with all the other prisoners. They were a part of the WITSEC program, basically in-prison witness protection, which meant they had to be kept in the SHU, Special Housing Unit, known as the SHU. The SHU is a bit like solitary confinement. Because they were helping the government, Pete and Jay were given a few special privileges. They were allowed to be together in the SHU.
Okay.
We walked into the SHU. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is prison? Like, what? There's like a little gate and there's a bunch of cells. Nowhere, it's like just hallways, just a bunch of cells. These weird, it's like a triangle. And they have two sides and they take us to the back cell. It's 2 bunks and like, it's ugly, dirty, paint chipping. It's so fucking cold. It was the first time I think I really took it in, like all the other things, so much going on.
It got real again, y'all.
I remember they closed the chokehold and me and my brother stand at the door and we just look at each other. There ain't shit in there. Like, yo, what the fuck do we do? Now we're getting anxious, no communication. We haven't talked to our family. I think our lawyer told they're okay, they've been calling or something like that. But that wasn't good enough for us. Like, okay, what?
Of course not. And all they've done is lie already. They've already reneged on you and everything.
This torture on us. Like, we say withdrawals of phones, or withdrawals of what we were used to for all those years. Now we're sitting in a fucking cell, with nothing in there.
The life of a drug dealer is 24/7. And if you remember, Pete and Jay had 50 phones each, constantly ringing. They were heavily involved in the day-to-day running of the business. And
the feds gotta have a whole staff just to answer their phone.
Made sure they never missed a phone call.
What's scary to hear phones ringing when they're not ringing.
Could you hear?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I bet you could.
And you know how messed up your brain's getting.
Listen, a lot of you people are hardworking people in my community. Sometimes you go you do a job. Let's say you work at a factory or something, and you hear a certain air pressure and a certain slam and a certain cadence. You know that shit goes home with you. You sleep with that shit. That shit is on your head all night long. So imagine you in the jail. You still hearing the phones. Because you're used to these 50 phones going off. They had to hire 20 interns to handle these phones. And now they're in jail hearing it. Old 30 North, they always play the victim. Seems that way sometimes. Don't we all?
In the quiet of a prison cell, Pete was still hearing phones ringing inside his head.
Judy was born.
Relax.
I'm Ruby, the remote cast 100.
The first night was terrible. And it was a while before we even saw a guard, I think. They'll come just look in. And we're just like sitting there like this fucking place is nasty. It was hard. That first night, I'm talking about, it is freezing. We have no blanket. We have nothing. You know, we have like a t-shirt on, like a small t-shirt and just a jumpsuit. And we're freezing. I'm talking about like shaky. It has to be like 40 degrees in there. We're shaking, like there's icicles on the wall. They shut the lights off at 10 o'clock. And I remember you could see the roaches come out. Just shiny roaches everywhere. They came early for us. The next day, it's around 6, the marshals come for us. And they put like, you know, we go through a process. There'll be like quite a few marshals. And they'll pick us up in like a bulletproof car, take us down the block to the federal building. And that was kind of became our routine.
So you basically were in the shoe and then they transported you down the road to the federal building.
To the federal building where we'd go and it start off like at a conference room or, you know, an office.
And then they take you back to the shoe.
Yeah. They would bring their laptop first to like review whatever document. Start off like at a conference room or, you know, an office.
And then they take you back to the shoe.
Yeah. They would bring their laptop first to like review whatever document or whatever the case is. And you would have the laptop. Then they end up starting to talk something else, like doing something else to U.S. attorney and agents. And I look, I seen that they had windows open on my computer. And I hit the window. You don't want me to tell that story? What's wrong?
Don't forget, Pete and Jay haven't seen each other much since they were in prison together. So there's occasionally some brotherly tension in the room.
My computer. And I hit the window, the cases. And an office.
And then they take you back to the shoe.
Yeah. They would bring their laptop first to like review whatever document or whatever the case is. And you would have the laptop. Then they end up starting to talk something else, like doing something else to U.S. attorney and agents. And I look, I seen that they had windows open on my computer. And I hit the window. You don't want me to tell that story? What's wrong?
Don't forget, Pete and Jay haven't seen each other much since they were in prison together. So there's
And I look, I seen that they had windows open on my computer. And I hit the window. You don't want me to tell that story? What's wrong?
Don't forget, Pete and Jay haven't seen each other much since they were in prison together. So there's occasionally some brotherly tension in the room. Some of this stuff is being spoken about between them for the very first time. It's Jay's wife, Val, that you can hear in the background.
I mean, you could tell the story without saying you went to the fucking agent's fucking computer and hit window and shit. What's wrong with that? Jay, you don't want to go be like, oh, you're manipulating the agent. You said it in this fucking interview. Don't say that, but not parasite like that. Say what?
Because you said you went to be.
I did. It's not for you to go through. That's the crime I'm gonna be. Jay, come on, man. Yeah, well, it's part of the story. So. It's not. I'm saying that part's not important. Okay. I'm just saying like, you don't want to open a can of worms over it. So say what? I mean, you could tell the story without saying you went to the fucking agent's fucking computer and hit window legend. What's wrong with that? Jay, you don't want to go be like, oh, you were manipulating the agent. You said it in this fucking interview.
It's Jay's wife, Val, that you can hear in the background.
I mean, you could tell the story without saying you went to the fucking agent's fucking computer and hit window legend. What's wrong with that? Jay, you don't want to go be like, oh, you were manipulating the agent. You said it in this fucking interview. Don't say that, but not parça, that. Say what?
Because you said you went to be.
I did. It's not for you to go through. That's the crime of Jay, come on, man. Yeah, well, it's part of the story. So. It's not. I'm saying that part's not important. Okay. I'm just saying, like, you don't want to open a can of worms over it. So yeah. You really think we're sitting here talking about tons of drugs at the government, and that's gonna be, oh, that's an issue. Oh yeah, hold on. Let's go back where it died on.
Tell us what you saw.
You can open them. Issue. What issue? Just one day you're going to a federal government agent's Windows computer that you're sneaking around it. You could have changed information about something. No, but you feel like it doesn't sit. Well, like
What you saw.
I'm just saying, like, you don't want to open a can of worms over it. So yeah. You really think we're sitting here talking about tons of drugs at the government, and that's gonna be, oh, that's an issue. Oh yeah, hold on. Let's go back where it died on.
Been off talking shit.
Tell us what you saw.
You can open them. Issue. What issue? Just one day you're going to a federal government agent's Windows computer that you're sneaking around it. You could have changed information about something. No, but you feel like it doesn't sit well. Like, I don't know if you understand. Alright, Pete, alright, just chilling. Just
Did you basically see all the
no, it's just information where they would say stuff.
Yeah, times like when you.
So like I was saying when the mic was off was that it's Jay saying too much and it's Pete telling them to relax. And he's telling them, bro, we're talking about all of these kilos and you worried about me going to the computer. We want to say what's in the computer. My thing is, if they don't tell us what was in the computer, it was a good thing to play them arguing about it, because that's the crux of the whole thing. He keeps saying, I'm saying maybe the feds would be that petty and be like, hey, we'll get you on a cybersecurity crime. You went through a federal computer, boom, there, pop like, you off.
Like, this fucking place is nasty. It was hard. That first night, talking about it is shiny roaches or like doing something else to use attorney and agents. And I looked, I seen that they had windows open on the computer. And I hit the window.
Back on track. My bad, Joe.
You don't want me to tell that story.
Happens.
What's wrong with you?
Don't forget, Pete and Jay haven't seen each other much since they were in prison together, so there's occasionally some brotherly tension in the room. Some of this stuff is being spoken about between them for the very first time. It's Jay's wife, Val, that you can hear in the background.
I mean, you could tell the story without saying you went to the fucking agent's fucking computer and hit window legend. What's wrong with that? Jay, you don't want to go be like, oh, you were manipulating the agent. You said it in this fucking interview. Don't say that, but not parça, that. Say what?
Because you said you went to be.
I did. It's not for you to go through. That's the crime of Jay, come on, man. Yeah, well, it's part of the story. So. It's not. I'm saying that part's not important. Okay. I'm just saying, like, you don't want to open a can of worms over it. So yeah. You
and his wife is back there talking about say it. So evidently they had a conversation about spill the beans, or she doesn't know and wants to know what's on the computer. Maybe they haven't had the conversation. Who knows?
You think we're sitting here talking about tons of drugs at the government, and that's gonna be, oh, that's an issue. Oh yeah, hold on. Let's go back where it died on.
Tell us what you saw.
You can open them. Issue. What issue? Just one day you're going to a federal government agent's Windows computer that you're sneaking around it. You could have changed information about something. No, but you feel like it doesn't sit well. Like, I don't know if you understand. Alright, Pete, alright, just chilling. Just
Did you basically see all the
No, it's just information where they would say stuff.
Yeah, times like when you'd been.
It was just personal feelings.
It was what?
They don't write their personal feelings in.
What did they say?
No, they had personal feelings that they would be writing messages to each other. Emails and saying these fucking insults, yeah.
What did he say? The agents were.
And the prosecutor.
The brothers didn't want to go into any more detail on the record.
Okay, so they had text threads of agents calling them pieces of shit to each other. Or worse, who knows?
So I stopped the tape and we took a short break. We picked up the story with the twins back in the conference room, cooperating with the agents in Chicago.
It was the second day when we had like a break. I remember the U.S. attorney said, so I know guys, like, you know, up to this point, you know, you guys seem like you guys are all right guys, and, you know,
employee.
Over time, we've been talking a lot, and us being familiar with each other, it's like, you could feel it, but not everyone in this office feels that way. And I was like, huh? Like, you're gonna, you know, we're gonna introduce you to some agents that don't really like you guys. So, you know, just be patient and just like, you know, they might be a little bit hard. And I remember that's when I first started, just like, hard? What? Basically, he's giving me a warning, like, they might not be nice.
No, they coming to rough
and I'm
you
thinking,
up.
shit, it's already bothering me. Here comes 6, 7 agents.
Giants.
Walking in the door. And I could see that they don't seem cool. They don't seem nice. I could see. And I guess they were mad at the case.
You were warned.
Because they were people that were, you know, the time when I was cooperating, they were doing an investigation. They felt like it should have been their case, and, you know, different agents got the case. I understand. I said, you guys have been like after us for a long time, right? Kind of made a joke out of it. And now we're here, right? So I know you guys have, like, you guys could be upset, but you guys, you know, for a long time, you know, we were winning, but now you got us. You won. We're here. We're here. We're gonna help you, and, you know, however we could help you, we're gonna help you, and just leave any personal shit just to the side or whatever. They kind of just nodded their head, and then that's when I think we spoke up. I said, I'm gonna help you guys. And now that we're here, I'm gonna ask for one thing. Like, what's that? I said, Saul Rodriguez.
Oh, we're back to Saul. For those that don't remember, Saul was the guy that allegedly kidnapped Peter the first time. So that came back. They had let him off the hook. And said, you know, bygones be bygones. But lesson learned, bygones are never bygones.
Yes, that's Saul.
Yeah.
Remember the one that kidnapped Pete in Chicago?
Saul.
Pete's first kidnapping. Saul Rodriguez pretended to be a cop and took Pete into a basement where the floor was covered with plastic, and there was that random parrot.
One day, just smiled. Saul Rodriguez kidnapped you. I said, no, he kidnapped my brother.
At the time, the brothers didn't retaliate against Saul for kidnapping Pete, but they were finally able to get their revenge. Saul was one person they were more than happy to turn into the government.
And he has a file in his hand. He just started picking up pictures. And my brother was able to identify everyone in the pictures.
And him.
That kind of just, like, I think, kind of changed their views a little bit.
Yeah. They was excited now. They were like, oh, they're in the picture book. Yeah, they was excited.
Like, this is going to be a routine, you know? It's going to go on for the next 7 months.
So for 7 months you did that. What was that like?
It wasn't easy. We had ups and downs, you know? You know, and every day it was just a reminder, like, we're doing this. Like, why are we doing this? How did we get here? And there was a lot of questions about our future. Every day, probably. And like, everything going on with our families, don't forget they're picked up and they just, you know, had to start all over and all these things going on.
The tearful goodbye back in Mexico was the last time Pete and Jay had seen their families. All they knew was that they'd crossed the border into the US safely. While Pete and Jay were sat in a conference room in Chicago, Val and Pete's wife Viv were stranded at the border with the rest of the family. They didn't know where their husbands were being held. The responsibility of what to do next and where to go fell on Val's shoulders.
We stood there hours at the border. Hours. It was already morning time. He's like, where are we going? Like, we're going to Chicago. And I'm like, we're just gonna keep going. She just looked like, it was just like emotionally drained. She looked exhausted. She looked tired. I'm like, we're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going. And then we kept driving. And I remember we hit, I think it was San Antonio.
Damn, boy, that's a trip. They was trucking.
San Antonio in Texas.
Yeah, we hit San Antonio. Now, our phones don't work. Because all of our phones are from Mexico. And there's no phone service. And I remember we went to a hotel. We check in, and I remember I sent my nephews to go get the phones. They come back, I start calling the attorneys. I start calling, like, we're here.
Where?
We're in the US. Where's J&P? When we were in Chicago, we went straight to a hotel, called the attorney, and then a few agents from witness protection came out to speak to me and Viv, and basically told us that they wanted our family to go into the program and that we wouldn't be able to speak to our husbands until their release, whenever that was.
Released from prison?
Yeah.
So we could have been talking, at that point you got no idea.
Exactly.
When the twins turned themselves into the US authorities, no one had any idea how long they would ultimately spend in prison. It would end up being years before they'd be sentenced, and despite their cooperation, the possibility of spending decades behind bars was still on the table. Entering the witness protection program that was offered to them by the government meant the family would be split up. Val and Viv wouldn't be able to speak to or visit their husbands until the day they were released from prison.
How about each
they
other?
even said that me and Viv couldn't even be together. Our kids couldn't be together. She had to go to one part of the country, I had to go to another part of the country.
There's gonna be no communication.
No communication with us, with our families, with our husbands, with anyone, with no one.
Nothing. It's a wrap.
No one. Our parents,
New life.
no one. I said, I'm gonna speak for me and Viv, and I said, we're just absolutely not. We will not be going into the program. She put fear in us. I know that she told us that they were there to help us and that there's no way we could be, on our own, especially with their husbands cooperating, with their cooperation. We weren't safe in Chicago. That if we weren't going to go into the program, that we should leave the state. We shouldn't even be in Illinois. And we're like, where do we go? She's like, the only way we can help you is if you enter witness protection. If not, we can't assist you in any way. like, okay. I just kind of started going by the attorneys, what they were telling me to do. And the attorneys, they hired 24-hour security, 4 armed men, 2 SUVs, blacked out, and they sat in front of the house 24/7.
In Chicago?
Yeah.
So how long? For that whole 8 months?
Yeah. We went there, and then they slept there. They were there 24/7.
The decision not to enter the government's witness protection program so they could stay together meant the family were completely on their own. Val, Viv, and the kids moved into one big house in Chicago where they could have the protection of a round-the-clock private security team. Across town, Jay and Pete were also under round-the-clock
Here's
protection.
what I don't understand. Who paid for that? Hold on, I'm going back real quick.
Telling me to do and enter witness protection. If not, we can't. That if we weren't going to go into the program, that we should leave the state. We shouldn't even be in Illinois. And we're like, where do we go? She's like, the only way we can help you is if you enter witness protection. If not, we can't assist you in any way. And we're like, okay. I just kind of started going by the attorneys, what they were telling me to do. And the attorneys, they hired 24-hour security, 4 armed men, 2 SUVs.
Completely on their own.
I got it.
Val, Viv, and the kids moved into one big house in Chicago where they could have the protection of a round-the-clock private security team. Across town, Jay and Pete were also under round-the-clock protection, but they weren't in a big house. They were in a tiny cell in the shoe, no bigger than a cupboard, under 24-hour lockdown.
For the first few months, it was straight locked. I couldn't even get a shower. I don't think we took a shower for 3 weeks.
Dang.
They didn't have the manpower. We didn't take a shower for 3 weeks.
Dang.
It got to a point sometimes where we'd be so embarrassed where we stunk. So that was our first real little stint of the shoe, and just wondering where was Viv and how was she okay, my rest of my family. We didn't have not one word. We didn't hear nothing from them. I couldn't even tell her where I was at. I can't tell you how miserable that was. How I had my first major panic attack. I was paralyzed. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I wanted to cry and scream, and weird at the same time where I couldn't just, remember the first night in prison where I was telling my brother, please don't fall asleep, man, talk to me. Jay, please don't fall asleep, bro. Stay up, talk to me, because I'm not, I'm going crazy.
Did you get quite a lot of panic attacks in prison?
I had my share, but not.
Peter earned those panic attacks, because that ain't nothing but a flashback to being snatched up by the cartel.
Nothing like those. Nothing like those, I could tell you.
Yeah, the first time you were...
And for some reason, it was weird because it made me think that your body, the beautiful thing about your mind and body, that a panic attack usually followed some peace. I don't know, it felt like afterwards, I cried, got back to normal, and then it kind of felt like, okay. And it felt like almost like a release of emotions in that, and there was a soothing little phase to it. Like a self-soothing for a little while. And all these things are how are you supposed to feel when you're going through that? I don't care if I am guilty of those crimes, that doesn't mean I don't feel these things. They're normal, real human emotions. If someone doesn't feel sad to be going through something like that, there's something wrong with them. If you don't, if it doesn't hurt you to be apart from your family, see your babies crying for you, see your mother cry for you.
I believe in the duality of man. I believe that even toughest gangster, the illest killer, the craziest psycho, you know, have some kind of remorse seeing his mother get shot in the face. There's some sort of empathy inside. I don't think everybody's just one thing, you know?
Something's wrong with you. You know,
not that they were any of them things, gangsters and none of that shit, because they were just businessmen. They were just, you know, bosses in that sense.
Scared to spend the rest of your life in prison? You haven't done any real time in prison. If you're in prison for 2 years or a year or 3 months, that's nothing compared to the reality of fighting for your life. It literally felt like I had a life sentence I was trying to fight off, you know? Which I was.
This is in red.
Got a third left, y'all.
You do.
Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. After this stream, give me about a half hour. I'll be going live again. Uncivilized episode 9. We'll be making fun of dumb criminals and Karens and crooked cops and all kind of shit.
Red swimsuit in the safe.
Radio app, Apple Podcast. You've seen a million times already. You get your podcasts.
Your career is your most valuable asset. And just straight from the...
I couldn't see my family. I would get like a phone call here and there, and my brother and I were like pissed off. Like, look, man, like I know we're proffering or debriefing, whatever, but I want the same rights as every other person. I want to be able to see my family.
All your wants.
It was a humongous headache for them because of the security issues.
All your wants needed to be in your negotiation up front. Not that they were gonna honor them anyway, because they can do what they want at this point. They got you where they want you.
My brother and I were like pissed off. Like, look, man, like I know we're proffering or debriefing, whatever, but I want the same rights as every other person. I want to be able to see my family. And it was like a humongous headache for them because of the security issues.
It's a lot of moving parts.
Finally, we were able to see our husbands after 3 weeks. We had to go like under an underground tunnel into the U.S. attorneys, into the federal building. And then they took us up the back elevators to the offices. And that's where we saw Jay and Peter for the first time.
I mean, evidently by this point, the cartel has to know they're gone, they're missing. It's months. Where they at? They know something's happening. And the wives are hiding in plain sight.
Had the kids with us.
Do you remember that day?
Mm-hmm.
We were in that office. And
yeah.
I didn't expect to see them. I remember the door open. Like the office door open, and I was able to glance down the hallway, and I seen her like standing right there.
Yeah, and we walked in, and I remember my son just ran, Daddy, and he was just like hugging,
crying,
crying. Like I think we were all crying again, of course. It was just so emotional, and just looking at J and P, and they were like just small, they were skinny, they were, I'm sorry, I smell, I took a shower for 3 weeks. I'm like, it's okay, you don't smell, you look, keep your head up. I kept lifting his chin up, like, you look handsome, like, don't do that, keep your head up. And he's like, okay.
That's how much control they got of you at that point, that they'll take you stinking to your visit. You don't get no shower before your visit. You going stinking. You giving us the biggest fish we've had in a very long time, and you coming in here stinking to your family.
Miss you, we love you. It's just, we said so many things.
It was
we're
like
we're fine, we're safe, we're okay.
We're okay. It was like, I wanted to ask questions, but it was more like,
we didn't talk.
We were just in that moment.
Yeah, we didn't talk about what
my baby
he went through.
My baby, we
didn't talk about what I went through. He went through. It was just about our kids, you know, if we're okay and that we were safe. And that was it. It was
like the roller coaster. It was like the biggest.
He was okay if he was eating. He's like, now that we're here in the offices, when they bring us food, or whatever they're eating, we eat, and we're like, why can't you take a shower? It was just like so weird. Like, how do you get here? Like, aren't you like across the street? Because they have like the MCC, the Metropolitan Correctional Center. He's like, they move us in like these like bulletproof Suburbans and like with all these marshals.
I was gonna say that's weird that not much changed, right?
And it was when Obama was
Obama had just won the election, and he had, I guess they had his office was in the federal building, right? They have an office there, and what happened was that I guess they had the Secret Service. The Secret Service would sometimes be there, and the marshals, and it would be those like they're protecting us, and it would be like elevators, like hold on, like it was like always a problem. At the same time, Blagojevich, the Illinois governor, had just been indicted, so it was like always a media frenzy out there, and we'd be in these, I guess, Obama's security detail or us, it kind of was like they couldn't tell what was what, right?
So the media was always saying that JMP was like, that was Obama, they were taking him. And
so these fools just compared themselves to Obama's security team because, we on that level. Or not. Security teams and Secret Service running into each other. But they didn't let y'all shower.
Moving him around the city.
So they're in charge.
It was you two.
Security detail or us, it kind of was like they couldn't tell what was what, right?
So the media was always saying that JMP was like, that was Obama, they were taking him and moving him around the city. And
it was you two.
Yeah.
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So how long were you there for then? 7 months?
Yeah.
If you were in Chicago in late 2008 and thought you saw Obama's motorcade, chances are it was probably the Flores twins. Cooperating meant so much more than the one phone call Pete recorded on the phone to El Chapo. The daily motorcade continued every single day for another 7 months.
Another 7 months.
The twins were finally allowed to see their family, but there was one person who wouldn't visit them, their father. Pete and Jay were able to get the government to give him a visa to live in the United States for his own protection. The government felt it would be too dangerous for him to live in Mexico because of what the twins had done. But their father felt otherwise. He wanted his life in his homeland of Mexico. He headed to the bus station to get on a bus to cross the Mexican border. Val tried to stop him getting on the bus. It didn't work. In the midst of their daily cooperation, the twins received some awful news.
Pride.
Within days of their father, Margarito Flores Sr., arriving in Mexico, he was kidnapped and was never seen again. All that was left was his burnt-out car and an awful news. Within days of their father, Margarito Flores Sr., arriving in Mexico, he was kidnapped and was never seen again. All that was left was his burnt-out car and a note that said, "Tell those fuckers to shut up or we'll send you his head." The last time Pete and Jay had seen their father was back in Mexico when they told him they'd been cooperating with the US government. The very thing he'd always told them never to do. He called them cowards and told them they weren't his sons.
How did you feel when you found out that he'd died?
Yeah, I don't think that even to this day that I've been able to really take it all in, I put it in the back of my mind at times because I guess just to not face those or continue to face those feelings of guilt, when I see my mom and I could see her loneliness. I feel even worse. But like moving forward, like all those things he felt, like I wish I had like the story to feel like to be able to tell him like that I did the right thing, you know. But he told me like his eyes were like, don't trust the government, don't.
You disgraced them.
They're gonna use you and
They are.
throw you away. And he said, these people are never gonna forget what you did.
Yep. Was he wrong?
And I had this idea to think that, you know, like that you're wrong. You know? And the situation I'm in today doesn't feel like he was wrong, you know?
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't
He
wrong.
was taken somewhere outside a ranch. They found his vehicle with a note in it. That was it. That was a threat. And to me, it was like a threat, you know, but a threat has to, you know, it wasn't a threat, it was more of a statement, right?
From who?
I don't think it said from who it was, but I guess we understand. I mean,
I'll double up. The audio mix on this podcast was horrible in season 1. It's horrible in season 2.
From who?
Old Soul in the chat said it was all their fault. I mean, yeah. So supposedly the rumor is that the old man had another family in Mexico and that's why he was going back. Another family or no other family, he wanted to fucking fly freely. And he knew them working for the government was going to happen exactly how it happened. And he told them as such. And Mexico ain't never going to forget. They didn't forget when his father crossed the border and they ended him.
it wasn't a threat, it was more of a statement, right?
It was a statement. Shut your ass up. Send you his head.
From who?
I don't think it said from who it was, but I guess we understand. I knew 100% it was a cartel.
CHAPO?
Whoever.
Yeah, for sure. I don't recall the exact words, but I know it was something about us talking or us cooperating or something like that. So.
Are you angry? You're angry that what they did?
No, I'm not angry. You know, I think I blame myself.
Good for you.
I blame myself. Or I take responsibility for it as I have, you know, been going to prison for my actions, and I think that was a consequence of my actions. I think that we try to just put on this face, and I think it was the situation we were in, and I try to remember. I remember sitting there thinking, if this is what happened because of this, then I'm gonna make this worth it. I'm not gonna come here and just start, second guessing myself.
You gonna do it all the way.
We're gonna stand for something.
Uh-oh. America.
That's meaningful to us, and through all the stuff we've been through, we're still here. We're still going.
Still going, y'all.
Surviving El Chapo, the twins who brought down a drug lord, Season 2, is hosted by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and me, Charlie Webster. Produced by myself and Jackson McLennan. Assistant producer and research.
All right, y'all. That's episode 1, season 2. What do y'all think? 030 North said they always play the victim. I wonder if their wives were faithful the whole time they were in prison. We know Val likes money. She only into two guys with money. She's only into guys with money. Yeah, it don't matter whether they were faithful or not. They're in the situation that they're in. Period. Quick recap of this episode. They get off the plane. They go to jail. They stick them in the office. And they make them trick everybody into tricking themselves off the street for greed. They make cold calls and phone calls to all their drug associates and tell them, I got some work for you, dog. We're going to get rich. Them dudes go to get that money. And they end up in the cockroach cell right next to the twins. As they rat on their 100 people that branches off to another million. You know what I'm saying? What else? The family decided to turn down witness protection and hide in plain sight in the city with a security detail paid by the lawyers, knowing that they'd get their money back because they knew what was coming down the line. Man, that's episode 1. We will continue to be on top of it. Episode 2 next Wednesday. I appreciate y'all for being here. I'll be back on in about an hour, maybe half an hour. With Uncivilized episode 9. Salutes Old Soul. Salutes 030 North. Edgar Rosales. Salutes. Zulu, if you out there, send those links a better way. They didn't pop up in the chat. I didn't see them. For the rest of y'all have a good day. Don't trick yourself off the street. Have a good drink. Smoke them if you got them. And hit the like and subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And tune in about a half an hour to an hour for Uncivilized episode 9. I holla. Peace.